of corruption, the plague of brutality and violence that is attacking us in so many ways. We honor you, O Lord, knowing you are greater than any virus, larger than any evil force that could ever defeat us. We call on you to catch those tears that are falling, comfort the afflicted, embrace us with your open arms and undying love. Oh, precious Lord, we're tired, we are weary. Precious Lord, take our hand. We ask you, oh God, for your godly counsel. Let us not bring to the public good ideas, but good God ideas straight from the throne of grace. Let us not repeat the mistakes of the past, but birth positive, fresh solutions for generations to come, not just for one, but for all, leaving no one behind. And now, dear God, we ask you to bless our leader, Vice President Joe Biden, his family, and all of us, the Biden team. We will pray together, we will stay together, and we will rejoice together in victory as we ourselves remain devoted to the change deserving of this great nation. And in the words of that great prophet Amos, we await the dawning of a brand new day when justice rolls down like a river and righteousness like a mighty stream. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, amen.
Thank you so very much, Reverend Reynolds. Danielle?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? My name is Danielle Smith. I am the National Co-Chair for the East Coast for Black Women for Biden. I'm so excited to be here with you all tonight. I just want to first off say thank you to my Black Women for Biden sisters and brothers, and especially this last couple of weeks to my sisters who have been there for me. I've been having a couple of health issues, but they just came right to the front and took over. And so I thank God for you guys. And thank you so very much. And thank you for that prayer to Reverend Reynolds. That was amazing. Thank you. Right now, I'm going to introduce Mr. Haki, Ammi, and Ammi. And Haki is a good friend of mine. He is a U.S. Navy veteran, currently a Baltimore City firefighter, best-selling author of a book titled Mission Unstoppable, a radio co-host of Speak Your Mind Friday radio show on Fridays at 10:10 a.m. on WOLB in Baltimore. He is elected to the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee in 2018, and later he ran unopposed to the selected to serve as treasurer position. Recently, in April of 2020, he was elected to serve on the board of directors of the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus Foundation, which works with the Maryland Caucus for fundraising, data, and legislative research for African Americans in Maryland. Haki is one of our good brothers. He joined as soon as I told him about our organization. He was really excited. He's always out there passionate. He works with all sorts of campaigns. And so I'm excited to introduce to you Mr. Hakeem Ammi.
Certainly. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this lovely opportunity. It's not my first time joining you all, so I know how you all just doing the work to get Biden elected, and I'm so grateful for that. So let me first thank you, Danielle, again, give it back to you, and of course, Pat and Kern. I'm happy to be a good brother for Biden at this time, so it's just a blessing. And of course, people can follow me, Success Scholar, Haki.com, that's my website, Success Scholar 1 on Twitter, Success Scholar on Instagram. So you could say I'm kind of, doing some work in the Baltimore metropolitan area, born in Baltimore, but, as I mentioned, being in the Navy and, serving this country, I saw a lot, heard a lot, and continued to grow. But like many Black men growing up in an urban environment, it would not have been too far-fetched for me to end up on the wrong side of the law, or a victim of police violence, or a victim of Black on Black violence. And yes, many of us, we do address that as well, if anyone think that we do not. But with that being said, Black people, we do have issues, but yet America has issues. America has more guns than in people, 393 million, and that was some 2 years ago. America has 2 million prisoners more per capita than any industrialized nation. And during my Navy time, you know, in Norfolk, Virginia, I used to visit the bookstores. Once I read a book called Who Needs the Negro by Sidney Wilhelm. He was a white American sociologist, I believe, and he spoke to some of the causative factors of you know, black men in particular being cut out of the economic empowerment as well as labor markets, and spoke about automation, outsourcing, and technological advancements that are continually challenge black male abilities to produce in this society. And next, Andrew Hacker, the author of Two Nations, White, Black, Separate, Hostile, Unequal. And he said, despite continued efforts to increase the understanding and expand opportunities, do Black and white Americans still lead separate lives continually marked by tension and hostility? That's critical, tension and hostilities. That's what we have to understand. And I'll bring it back to someone, and me being in the DC area, we know about Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's. She believed in the Cress theory, and she spoke about the origins of racism, white supremacy, and she spoke about economics, the areas of people activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And she had a famous quote, and she said, if you do not understand racism, white supremacy, everything else you thought you understood about the world will only confuse you. And with that being said, for the past 25 years, I've attempted to understand these areas more practically and to know how to, shall I say, move the needle or push the envelope or turn over the apple cart, if you will. But for those of us that are in a political space, we need to look at some of our great brothers and sisters that fought the good fight, the Adam Clayton Powell, if I may, who many people say I remind them of. So I feel blessed. So that was one of my inspiration for running. When someone said that I reminded them of Adam Clayton Powell, I said, oh, okay, well, yeah, let me go look him up some more. So, and also Ida B. Wells. And one of the things she said was, one had better die fighting against injustice than to die like a dog or a rat on a trap. And that's what we have in America right now. Many of us are experiencing various levels of trap. So ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I say no prison system is perfect, right? American slavery was not perfect. It took some time for America to move beyond its promise of e pluribus unum. Make sure everybody hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, and we do have Congresswoman Demings on with us, so we're going to kind of have to move on.
Okay, I'll close, but I thank you. I thought we had like 3 minutes. I'm not sure how much, but I will begin to wrap up and say this. Thank you. I wasn't sure. I appreciate that. I didn't know how much time I totally had, but I'll close with this. We are going to have to immediately get Joe Biden into office. And how are we going to do that? We can support our local parties, text your neighbors, call your neighbors, and email. All of us know 250 people at our funeral. So I say those are the things we must do. So I thank you for your time. I apologize, but yes, so I thank you very much. So I'm looking forward to, and I'll like to recognize the Georgetta lady from Florida. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Haki, and
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
always honored to have our good brothers on with us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
We
you.
know that our community is one of unity, and we must work together. And we're just very honored to have with us this evening all of you. Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, we're thrilled to have you with us. And then our special speaker, a woman that we hope is going to make history, going into a position that a Black woman or a woman has never held in this country before, perhaps being Vice President of the United States. We're excited, Congresswoman Demings, and we're so proud of you. Your role in the impeachment hearings was outstanding. We were there cheering for you as you were doing it. And I just love reading your bio. My name is Stephanie Myers, and I'm one of the organizers of the Black Women for Biden, and look forward to getting to know you better as we proceed. But reading about your bio and how you've gone through so many different phases of life, you're such an example for young people. Being the chief of the Orlando Police Department, that is just amazing. And the record that you kept there as a law enforcement officer, being a member of the 10th Congressional District in Florida, outstanding. And then I was just really pleased to see that here's a Black woman who can do all of these things and be married to a brother. And she has her husband there. And her husband, Jerry Demings, was a former Orange County sheriff. They met on duty, which is just amazing. And now he's the mayor of Orange County, Florida.
Yeah.
Are we talking about dynamic duo and power couple here? And they have 3 children on top of it all. So just in wrapping up, one of the things I admire about you so much, Congresswoman, is all of your affiliations. Sometimes we get Black leaders who aren't connected to us in any way, but you are. You're a member of the AME Church. We love the AME and started our week of nonviolence at Metropolitan AME down here in Washington. You're also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, so you're part of the Greek world and the Divine Nine. We recognize and honor that. We appreciate you being a part of the Links organization, the Orlando chapter, and the community service that it does, the NAACP, Silver Life member. And you're also a member of the National Congress of Black Women. And I hope that Reverend Dr. Ife Williams is on the line. She is one of our members, one of our senior advisors. So with that, it is our honor to have you. And we hope to see you in the White House mansion for Vice President one day. And please, thank you very much for being with us.
Well, let me say, first of all, good evening to all of you. And my goodness, Stephanie, with an introduction like that, we certainly need to get to know each other better and hang out a little bit more. I just thank you so much. What I do know, as you mentioned, the impeachment trial, and you all were with me. And I tell you what, the prayers of the righteous really do availeth much. And I just thank you so much for your prayers and your support as we now go through yet another tough time in our nation's history. I also want to thank our good brothers for Biden. I heard Haki say that earlier, and my goodness, how much we need you in this fight to make sure that come November, we're on our way to a new president who shares a vision that we share, being sworn in the White House. I'm also delighted to see my friend and colleague. She knows that I just adore her. She is just like the mentor for all of us, Bernice Johnson from the great state of Texas. It's such an honor to see you tonight. I come before you tonight as a woman who grew up in Florida. Now I know y'all probably tease a lot about what's going on in Florida. I feel you and I hear you. But I grew up in Florida. I come before you tonight as the daughter of a maid and a janitor. My mother cleaned houses for a living and my father mopped floors. But he also picked oranges, he mowed lawns, he did whatever he could do to keep a roof over our head and food on the table. I tell that story tonight because we are talking about living in the greatest country in the world. That's what we say. But if that's true, then membership should have its privileges. And regardless of the color of your skin, how you grew up, who your parents are, what your zip code just happens to be, or how much money you have in the bank, every boy and girl, and every man and woman should have a fighting chance in the United States of America. I also join you tonight as the mother of 3 handsome sons, and I'll just take the privilege and the liberty of saying that. America is grieving. America is mourning the death of George Floyd, and we could call many, many names. George Floyd was murdered by those who were charged with and have taken an oath to protect and serve. Our hearts are broken by that, as you can imagine, but we do not weep like those who have no hope. You see, I still, despite of all of the struggles and obstacles that we faced in the past and that we still face today. I still believe in the promise of America because I have seen the promise of America. Daughter of a maid and a janitor, being able to graduate college and become a social worker, a police chief, and now serving as a member of Congress. I've seen the promise of America. And we can still, during some of the toughest times, improve conditions on the ground and save our democracy and our dreams. Oh, we can do that. Black women for Biden and a few good men with the right leader at the right time. And you all know, because that's why you're here, the right leader, and for this time, is Joe Biden. No one can convince us of what we have to lose. Remember that question, Eddie Bernice in the Congressional Black Caucus from the president asked, what do you have to lose? Really? Well, let me just name just a few things. What about better jobs and better wages? What about equal pay for equal work? What about economic development in all communities? What about protecting our environment and having decent drinking water? What about access to the internet for all children and education that gives our kids a fighting chance? What about access to healthcare? As we go through the COVID-19 pandemic, we see the disproportionate impact on people of color. So what do we have to lose? I know I don't need to remind a group of women of what 45 has done and just how much he has failed to lead. When you fail to lead, even in good times, and fail to lead in bad times, and certainly has failed to lead during times of crisis as we face a public health pandemic, but as we also go through civil unrest due to police misconduct. Could we get a leader that can calm and unify America and our spirit based on the assurance that we're going to deal and fight against the injustices in our society? Is it asking too much to ask for a leader who can lead us through a public health pandemic and lead by example? You know, my husband likes to say the best indicator of future performance is to look at past performance. But I think the majority whip, Jim Clyburn, brought it home when he said, yeah, we know Joe, but more importantly, Joe knows us. So my sisters and my brothers, we are, and nobody knows it better than we do, we are fighting for the soul of America. We are fighting for our families, my families and your family, and our children and grandchildren's future, and the future for generations to come. And while we are not perfect people, we do have perfect dreams because we live in the greatest country in the world. And the American dream should be like none other. We must continue to do, as Mr. John Lewis said, who I have the honor of, can you imagine, serving with every day in Congress. John Lewis says, we must keep our eyes on the prize. Surely we have enough distractions, the foolishness coming out of the White House every day. But despite all of the craziness we hear, we must follow John Lewis's advice. It was good advice 50 years ago, and doggone it, it's good advice today. Don't be distracted. We must keep our eyes on the prize. And if we do that, sisters and brothers, I have no doubt that we will deny Donald Trump another 4 years and elect a man who cares about our agenda and who shares our agenda and shares our vision for the future. What about electing a man who has a good relationship with the truth? Is that asking too much? What about electing someone that we can trust that he is going to do what he says he's going to do? That person, we all know it, is Joe Biden. I attended a women's conference a few years ago, and one of the presenters said this. They said, women are God's secret weapon. Now, I'm not sure how much of a secret we are these days, but I know for a fact that women are the secret weapon. I think about that statement often. If we look historically, women, we've been there every step of the way during every major movement in our lifetime, whether we had the microphone or not. If we look at every major movement in our history, women were the backbone of those movements, whether it was women's rights or voting rights or civil rights or equal rights. And so I want to thank you for this opportunity. And let me just say this, I know this is not easy. It's hard. But when we make up our minds and when we as women start moving, we look left and we look right, and anything that is in our way, we say, you better get the hell out of our way because we're coming through. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the opportunities. Let's continue to work together and elect Joe Biden, the next president of the United States. Thank you all so much, and may God continue to bless you and the work of your hands. Thank you.
Congresswoman Demings, we thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, for leading us, and for inspiring us this evening. You're wonderful. You know we believe that, and whatever you tell us to do, we're going to do our best to make sure it gets done. We are women and good brothers who are working on the ground to make sure that Joe Biden is elected our next president. So we thank you for giving us time, because we know you all are very busy at this time. We really appreciate you. Thank you again from all of us.
Thank you so much, everybody. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
We will. Bye-bye. Now, I would like to introduce to our listeners, we have with us the Honorable Jan Perry from Los Angeles, California. Welcome, Jan. She is the senior advisor. I have to talk about you a little bit now. She is a senior advisor for Black Women for Biden. She was a recent candidate for the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, District 2. She's a former member of the 9th District of the Los Angeles City Council from 2001 to 2013, and was president pro tem of the Los Angeles City Council. She was also a candidate for mayor of Los Angeles in 2013. She and I have that in common. We both made that attempt. And we welcome you. She is going to talk with us about reaching that hard-to-reach voter. And we know that in this election, it is so important for us to get a ground game to make sure we get that done. Welcome, Jan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm very grateful to be a part of this group, because it gives me the opportunity to connect with all of you across the country without having to leave the comfort of my own home. And I'm really appreciative of that, especially now during this virus. And while I was listening to the call, I was scrolling through the participants and see a lot of familiar names and a lot of new names. Now, before I get into this, how many minutes do you want me to speak? About
Just a couple of minutes, yeah.
3 to 5. 3 to 5?
Yes,
Okay.
about 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm watching the clock right now. So
Okay.
hearing my resume, you can see or hear that I was battle tested but not battle worn. And I've been in major campaigns on my behalf in the city of Los Angeles, which is the second largest city in the country, and has very complex ethno-cultural voter turnout issues. And so I wanted to share some of my experiences with you. And I have to say, I feel pretty excited after hearing Congresswoman Demings speak. Has brought me a whole new level of energy and enthusiasm about talking to people, harnessing the lessons from those who came before us in relationship building, in talking to African-American voters through traditional and obvious institutions like houses of worship, like sororities, like any kind of club, Bible study, men's clubs, women's clubs, whatever kind of club you're in, block clubs, neighborhood councils, but also to learn from the young people, the millennials, then the Gen Zs, about the significance and the critical importance of using social media this time around. And there are so many, many more sites, Black Twitter, Black Facebook. I'm lucky I have a daughter who's 29 years old, so she keeps me, keeps me with it and tells me, how not to mess up and, give away my home phone number to the whole world. But it's another way to talk to people. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram because I want to communicate with people. Part of it's because I am in politics, but the other part of it is that I want to share knowledge and get knowledge. And so I follow a lot of people, and it's another way to reach out to voters or potential voters. One, to encourage them to register to vote, to explain to them how they need to register to vote in your respective states, and also to warn them. We just had a primary here in the county of Los Angeles, and we had a program that was activated called Voting Solutions for All People, and it was several options. We had 10 days of early voting. You could vote by mail, you could vote by absentee, you could come in and vote on these machines. And on election day, a lot of people waited till the last minute, came in. A large percentage of the machines didn't work. They had a glitch in the program where if you hit the wrong button, you never got to see all your candidates. So some people didn't get the votes that they might have gotten otherwise. I was actually one of those people. And I've written a letter to the chair of the DNC to let them know how these programs play out in the field. And so we need to be a voice for that in our respective states. If you see a problem with the way people are going to be able to vote, we need to come together collectively as Black women for Biden and not only tell the Biden campaign so we can get help before election day or in states where there's early voting, but we have to let people know how to vote, where to vote, and which is the safest way to vote, and to make sure that the party understands that if we do vote by mail, as we may end up doing in this state and across the country, we have to ensure that those ballots get in a safe place and are not left on a dock somewhere or sitting in a truck somewhere, because those are the dangers we face. So my advice is, as we move forward in our conversations and with the oversight and the participation and conversation of the Biden campaign, that we are very mindful of these issues, because there are a lot of us, and with African Americans, you don't really have to worry as much about registering people to vote. You have to turn out the vote. And then we have to make sure once we turn out the vote that the ballots make it in to be counted. And I'll stop there unless there's some questions.
Thank you so very much, Jan. We are going to have questions at the end, and we hope that you will be able to stay on with us. Okay, very good, very good. And so we do, and you can in the chat put questions if you have some. There's a Q&A section where you can give us some questions and answers, and we will be able to go back to those and respond to you with reserving time to do that. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Shayla Dell from Washington, D.C. She's one of those Gen Z young people that you were just talking about, Jan, who help us stay connected. But she is a Black woman for Gen Z youth vote advocate. She's an Instagram ambassador as well. She consults with the DC Public Schools and the State Board of Education officials on platforms such as the Chancellor's Student Cabinet and Student Board of Education Student Advisory Committee in order to advocate for youth, particularly Black youth, in regards to resources and innovations to provide better opportunities for her peers. She is one of us in the making. I can see that now, and we appreciate her for sharing her wisdom and her youthfulness with us so that we can engage our Gen Z voters. Welcome, Shayla.
Hello, good evening. I'm so happy to be here speaking to all of you. I want to acknowledge Congresswoman Johnson and Congresswoman Demings. I grew up in Florida as well, and it's an absolute honor to be here with you this evening. I also want to thank Black Women for Biden for giving me this platform to advocate for both the importance and empowerment of the youth vote. The youth vote is an extremely significant factor in the potential success of Joe Biden's presidential campaign, and it's essential that all parties involved not only know, but also acknowledge this premise, especially our youth. I believe within this process of our endeavors to empower the youth vote, we must tailor our strategies to fit and be more accessible to our target, young people. The most effective way to do this is creating a transparent and fundamental path for them to follow. But in order to produce this path, we must understand the what, why, when, where, and how of this cause ourselves. Beginning with the what, we know that the objective is empowering the youth vote, but we must go deeper and ask ourselves, what does empowering the youth vote mean? And specifically, what does it mean to Black women for Biden? I think we can all agree on the fact that now more than ever, we need to take a stand. We are living in extraordinarily difficult times, and with Trump's administration in office, feel almost or completely out of control of our own country. That is not democracy. We cannot let our youth develop the mindset that this is normal or just how things are. There have been far too many generations trapped into this corner of feeling like there's but so much they can do. It is now on us to inform them of the power within their right to vote and how to use this power to contribute to the positive progression of our country. Which brings me to our why. There are 7 million new voters this year turning 18. It is imperative that a vast majority of this bracket vote, and specifically a vast majority of these individuals, vote for Biden. As youth, the actions and occurrences that take place today and in those voting polls on November 3rd will be a factor in the projection of our futures. This is a message that is oftentimes lost within my generation's post of Trump slander and political drama. Although the well-deserved criticism of our opponent, Trump's character and qualification, assists in getting individuals to not vote for him, it does not do much for getting young people to vote for Joe Biden, whose controversial decisions regarding politics have been misconstrued and exposed to us by the media. Which is why it is in our best interest for us to start the conversation that the youth vote matters, and that as young people, we must put actions behind our words. In the 2016 election, there was a 1.1 increase of voter turnout within the age group 18 to 29-year-olds. It should be our goal to at least double this. Specifically in regards to young Black voters, we must utilize the youth vote to expand Black voter turnout and reach our full potential in the electorate, as well as assist in raising the 7% decline we reached among all Black voters in 2016. In understanding our win, it is important to acknowledge that the youth's time is now. With swift-moving media and new content being posted on social media every day, it is difficult to get ideas addressed by young people, and even more difficult to get these ideas to stick with young people, which is why this must be a message consistently relayed to our target demographic. It is important to obtain the support of youth, but once we're in possession of the support, it is important to keep our young audience engaged and involved. This can be done by keeping young people on a path to Biden's victory. For example, register to vote, join the campaign, then join our newsletter, donate to the campaign, then post in support of the campaign, encourage others to support the campaign, and so on until we get to vote November 3rd. The idea is to spread these tasks as a constant reminder of the campaign and its goal. As it goes for where, the most effective and safe place with all that's going on with this pandemic is social media platforms. As Ms. Perry was touched on previously, social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter is the place in which most young people receive media and set out information for their peers to receive. Our goal as people with a message and purpose is to get caught into this cycle of sharing and reposting in order to gain exposure and get our messages across the masses. And now for the most important piece, how. What exactly are the measures that will be taken in order to get this concept on the ground? The goal is to reach our young audience through social media, but it is in the way in which we approach using social media that will allow this initiative to reach its full potential success. First and foremost, the targeting of young individuals within target states will be consequential. It is important that we use social figures associated with these territories to be a part of relaying the message that the young vote is valued with Biden and is essential that they vote. This gives our campaign the opportunity to showcase our target representation from their people to their people. For example, Omari Hardy, who is the Black commissioner in Lake Worth, a city in Florida, which is a key state. He recently went viral among young people on social media for advocating for health safety regarding COVID-19. Figures like these will motivate the young demographic to listen and take action. Additionally, us ourselves as individuals must empower the youth vote. Recently, Coco Gauff gave a speech in Delray, Florida regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. She said, "You must speak no matter how big or small your platform is." And it's important that we all walk away with that mindset this evening and pass it on to people of the younger generation. Goff also said, "It's in your hand to vote for my future." We must remind these young voters who are only a bit older than Coco Gauff and I that they are now a part of that group and hold that responsibility. I'm confident that with the widespread use of messages like these, we will be able to resonate with my generation and encourage the use of their power tool, voting. Again, thank you for having me tonight, Black Women for Biden, and it was an honor to be able to speak on this crucial factor in the presidential Biden campaign.
Shayla, we are honored to have you with us and to share data and statistics and information and guidance to us as we embark upon this campaign to a victory on November 3rd. And we know you will be with us and celebrating with us on November 3rd. So we thank you very much. And we'll be calling on you throughout this whole endeavor. We appreciate you and we want you to continue working with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At this time, I'd like to give our Congresswoman, Bernice Johnson, an opportunity to make some comments. She has been listening to us for a few sessions. Congresswoman Johnson, are you still with us?
I am indeed.
Hi.
Hi. Let me thank all of you. My voice is a little scratchy today, but I want to say how pleased I am to know that this group is organized and going. We're going to need all of us to pull this job off that we really need to do for our nation. And I'm so delighted that all of you are together and we're working on the same plan. And I really do believe that we'll be successful with the effort. As you know, we are in a very frustrating position right now, as the whole nation has experienced. But the only thing that makes it so immediate is that we now can see it. We're grateful for the cell phones and iPhones getting these images so that people can understand what has been going on all the time, but especially now that we can see it and others other than us know it, that we can now hopefully address it a little bit better. But I look forward to continuing to work with you and staying in touch. There are two people that I have some initial relationships with, Dr. Barbara Reynolds and the young lady who identified herself earlier. I've been in Washington a long time, so I've come in contact with a lot of good people. And right now, I've been on the phone most of the day because I chair Science, Space, and Technology. It's not one of those emotional committees. It is one that looks out for the future of the nation through research. And so thank you for this leadership. Thank you for coming together. And let's stay together and encourage so that we all can celebrate together. I don't know whether or not we're going to have a gathering for the National Convention or not. Looks like right now they're planning it, but we don't know what will happen. But if that does happen, maybe we can meet up in person there.
We thank you so very much just for listening to us, being with us, and now giving us continued guidance. So we really do appreciate you and all the work that you have done, and I know you will continue to do. And we're right here with you as well. And the committee that you're on, it might not be one of the ones that people talk about a lot, but it's one that provides opportunities for young people for the future. Research is the future. And so science, we know, and technology is a major factor in that. So we look forward to working with you because we have ideas for all of that too, that we can share with you.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
Yes. So thank you so very, very much.
Good.
We appreciate it. Thank you. At
Sure.
this time, I'd like to ask Tria Stallings to share just a few words. She's the Western field organizer for the Joe Biden campaign, and she has an announcement to make. Tria?
Yes, thank you, Treasurer Hester and Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. It's so good to see you. I was your executive assistant in 2018. I'm grateful for everything that you've taught me throughout the years, and it's good to be with everyone. Shayla, your words were so powerful, and I commend you, my Black sister, for continuing to pave the way for those that are in the Gen Z and the millennial generation. So I'm proud of you. I wanted to publicly say that. So hi, everybody. My name is Tria Stallings. Again, I'm honored to be around so many powerful African-American women. I know it's been said over and over again, but this is more important than ever for us to come together and unify our voices. As Black women, we know that African-American women, we stand together and we move nations. So with that said, tomorrow I will be co-moderating a panel discussion entitled Supporting Our Men, the State of Manhood. This panel discussion will be moderated by Dylan Iwu. He is a senior field representative to Congresswoman Karen Bass, in addition to the three panelists that we have, Tristan Braun, Dr. Miller, Paul Miller, and excuse the background in the camera, you probably hear some noise, in addition to Marcus Hughes. So we have a powerful panel, and we'll be talking about the issues that Black men face in America. And right now, as I'm speaking, I'm going to put the Zoom link here in the chat just for you all to sign up. We have 138 people already RSVP'd, and we look forward to making that number climb and climb and climb. So again, my name is Tria Stallings, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And thank you for the time, Treasurer Hester and Black Women for Biden.
Thank you so much, Tria, for your hard work. We really appreciate you and love working with you. At this time, I'd like to introduce, because, we do have work to do. And so Danielle Smith from Baltimore, Maryland, and Pat Duncan from Denver, Colorado are the national co-chairs for Black Women for Biden. And we are going to have them share with you some of the to-do and information where you can find information and how you can work from wherever you live. There's something that you can do. Danielle and Pat.
Hi, I didn't know if Pat wanted to go first or she wanted me to go first. I'm just going to say a couple of things first, and then I'll let my cohort there, my partner in crime there, Pat, come on. So I just wanted to make some reminders to remind especially all of the state liaisons that you are working with your members. Don't forget that we have the 100 members that we're trying to reach. We had that first, second, and third place that we can have you brag about and post that on our website and our Facebook page, as well as just remind you all that you're supposed to be making sure that you contact your Democratic state parties. So each of your prospective states, make sure you're talking and partnering with your Democratic Party, as well as partnering with your central committees. Your central committees are also those grassroots organizers. And right now, and I know in Team Maryland, several of us have been able to get out and do the sign waving. So we stand out there with our Biden signs on, our Biden shirts on and our Biden signs. And as soon as we get our Black Women for Biden t-shirts, we'll be wearing those. But we're waving, and a lot of people are really excited because they thought it almost seemed like we had our primary on June 2nd, and they were just glad to see that people were out there that week before. And then we also participated in some phone banking as well. So make sure you get out there, partner with your Democratic Party and partner with the central committees. And don't forget about your 100 team members. And if you have any questions, please make sure you contact either Pat or myself or anyone from our executive staff, and we can answer your questions. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thanks, Danielle.
Hello and welcome. My name is Pat Duncan, and I am from Denver, Colorado. And I'd like to welcome each and every one of you on the call today. I am so proud of Shayla and what she is about to do for the Gen Z and the millennial connection. And so thank you, Shayla. That was just amazing, just amazing. Okay, so I want to go over how many are states of liaisons. So we have Alabama, California, Colorado, Delaware, District of Columbia, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. So as you can see, we have approximately 27 states. And I will once again put in the chat, Black Women for Biden. So right now we're virtually doing meetings, phone calls. So the first one we're going to talk about is phone banking. And I know that's dear and important to everyone. So there's two ways that you can do phone banking. You can go to blackwomenforbiden.net. And on the homepage, if you scroll down, you'll see Make Calls for Joe. You can click on that. That will take you straight to the Joe Biden campaign. They have the training. You can make calls for your state. Or you can go directly to joebiden.com and go into the Action Center. So what we want to do and what is really important is we want to develop a partnership with the campaign, that we are running step in step with them, that we want to get whatever you want to call him out of the White House and elect Joe Biden. Second of all, so if you want to learn a little bit about Black Women for Biden, once again on our website, blackwomenforbiden.net, you can go About Us. And on the About Us, you can learn everything about our welcome from Danielle and myself, our senior advisors, our mission statement. You can go to the states. We have an interactive map. And if you click on your state, it will take you to go to registration, how you can register in your state, how you can contact your Secretary of State, all the information when it comes to voting. Again, once again, you can always go to joebiden.com. So that gives you all the information. And then if you scroll down, it'll say frequently asked questions. That is how you can send us your information that you want to be involved with us. And we really hope after this call, having the amazing Val Demings on, that you will want to be part of Black Women for Biden. And last but not least, donations. What we'd like you to do is to donate to the campaign through blackwomenforbiden.net. So if you go and you click on donations, there's going to be all these amounts in there. You can indicate the amount that you want to donate. And what happens is we get credit for your donation. And so it goes to the campaign, but Black Women for Biden gets the credit. So can you imagine if we raised $20,000, how much power that gives us and a seat at the table? So once again, any information that you need, you can go to blackwomenforbiden.net, or you can always go to the campaign, joebiden.com. And at this time, I'd like to turn it back over to Don.
Thank you so much, Pat. And yes, there's a lot of information that we have available to you. And yes, we do want you to be a part of helping us to get Joe Biden in the White House and get the other one out. The only way to say it, we are one voice, same purpose. That's to get Joe Biden elected. That's our hashtag. At this time, I'd like to bring on Diane Powell, who's a senior advisor from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then Dr. Val Crowder, she's a senior advisor as well. She's also an emergency room physician and coronavirus expert. She's been busy, helpful, and helping us to get through this. So ladies.
Thank you, Dawn. This is Diane Powell from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm very proud to be here this evening among such an esteemed group of women. I wanted to talk briefly about the importance of fundraising and the plans that Dr. Valda Crowder and I have worked together on collaboratively to emphasize the importance not only of this election, but of putting our dollars where our hearts and minds are. In a recent article in the Public Source magazine, the author wrote that Pittsburgh's Black residents feel the consequences of inequality more starkly than in other US cities. In addition to that, an associate professor at the University of Pittsburgh did a recent study of the Pittsburgh situation. And one of the statements that was made is that what this means is that if Black residents of Pittsburgh got up today and left and moved to the majority of any other cities in the United States, automatically, by just moving, their life expectancy would go up, their income would go up, their educational opportunities for children would go up, as well as their employment. So the results of this year's election are really personal for me. Our city more than ever needs federal dollars to come in and to help address some of the inequities that we've lived with for generations. And that's why we encourage all of the callers on the phone tonight to really consider to putting your dollars towards electing Joe Biden. Our votes represent our wealth, and our dollars will represent our clout. And it's imperative that we make our voices heard and are able to demonstrate that we are willing to invest in the campaign so that we might have a seat at the table. And if we do so, if we can make that happen, if we engage consistently and financially with our personal resources. So I encourage each and every one of you to make a donation today. Visit our website, blackwomenforbiden.net. Click on the donate button. It will take you directly to the Joe Biden Donation Center. Don't be intimidated by the categorized amounts. Whatever amount you choose to donate is fine. No amount is too small. But we do encourage you to vote. In the coming weeks, we are going to be offering training sessions for individuals who want to volunteer to assist in our fundraising efforts. You're encouraged to sign up for that training if that's something that would be of interest to you. Feel free to leave a voicemail or a message on our website, and we will definitely be back in touch with you promptly. In addition,
Go ahead, Diane. I thought
is there
you
a
were.
time constraint?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll close by just saying we just ask that you consider making a donation, not only tonight, but again in the future, because this election is critical to all of us. So thank you for your time. Look forward to working with you in the near future.
Thanks, Diane.
Welcome.
Valda?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I saw this Langston Hughes poem that is very short. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a sugary sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? And we are seeing an explosion on the street, and we have to actually follow up that explosion with activism, and that includes donating, voting registration, and actually getting out to vote. So we're looking for 1,000 women to sign up, and we're gonna send out, after this call, you'll get a sign up URL, a tiny URL, which has already been put in the chat box. Sign up to either donate or raise $100. So you can give $100, or you can find 10 people that are willing to give $10. And we wanna actually come to this campaign with a real significant contribution so we can actually have our issues addressed and have a seat at the table.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Yes, you all know how important it is to have a seat at the table. We are working with the campaign to make sure that we are able to have that seat at the table, help them with drafting and shaping policy, which is so very important, and policy that has measurable outcomes, because that's what we're looking for. We want to know when a thing is going to happen, what's he going to do in the first 90 to 100 days, what's easy for him to be able to put in place and reverse that we know needs to be put back on the table. We're also working very hard to make sure that everybody realizes that we have to do the down ballot as well. We want to get as many good people in office all across the country. So it is a major movement that we're working, and we just want to make sure that we're making that great difference. There are a few questions. We are close to wrapping up because we try not to keep you on more than an hour. We are already at that. There are a couple of questions, and one of them is, I can't answer this question, but I just want to share it. It says, what should Congress do if Trump tries to stay in office after the November election? We have been having that conversation. It will be a legalese. We plan for him to do a transfer because he doesn't have anything to tell Joe Biden when he leaves. He just needs to leave the White House. So it's not like he has any plans in place. And so we are working on that, and so is the campaign. So I just want you to know that that is being worked on in case we have to plan for that. Some of you want us to reach out to you, and we will, because there are some connections that you already have, and we want to be able to expand on those. And we are, now that school is truly out for our young people, we want to, we're bringing our college students on board. They've really been on board. There's some of the ones who are out there who have been protesting. So we want to make sure that we get to them all across the country, because they're also trying to determine what their fate will be at their universities and whether or not they will go back into school in the fall, or if they'll be virtual. So we are working to bring our young college students on as well. And there's some other questions. We will answer those questions as best we can and put them on the website. So please go to blackwomenforbiden.net, and we will put some answers in there for you as well. We really want you to keep in touch with us. We are looking, as you've heard, we have 26, 27 state liaisons. The state liaisons are our connection on the ground. And we do need some more. And if you go to the website, you can find out who is engaged. And if your state is not listed and you have some time, this is all volunteer time, everyone. You can let us know, and we'd be happy to provide you with the information and training that you need to be a state liaison. I am one in Virginia. And so we do everything that we can. I think that, other than saying thank you to all of you, there were 218 people on the call listening to us. And so we thank you for giving us your time on a Friday evening. We know the work that needs to be done. You know that, that's why you're here. We need you to share that with everyone that you know, everyone that you see. It is easy to register to vote. If you go to our website and just click on your state, you can register somebody from your phone from wherever you are. But we need to get people registered to vote. And then, as you heard from Jan, we need to get out to vote. Jan, I'm sorry I couldn't bring you back in, but you know how we try to stay on time so they won't talk about us being CP people. But we know that you'll continue to be engaged with us.
So one
yes,
Stephanie. As we wrap up. Our next meeting is going to be on Juneteenth. We invite all of you to come. We can accommodate 1,000 people. Our webmaster, Charlene Ligon out of Nebraska, has put together 1,000 seats. So for all of you, plan to come Juneteenth and bring your people with you, and we will have another session. So thank you all for being here. And we are an intergenerational group, and I hope we proved that tonight with Shayla and Tria and all of you. And that's the secret to our winning, is to make sure all the generations are working together.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do need to close out in prayer because that is what we do. Is there someone who would like to do that, who is on the panel that can speak?
If not, I can do it. If
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Chaplin.
Thank you. Dear Father God, we ask you to reach out and touch us, Lord God, so that we can touch somebody else, so that we can heal, that we can set free, that we can raise hope, Lord. But we cannot do it unless you touch us. Give us the anointing, give us the wisdom, give us the power to go forth, God. God, you called us to this time, not to run from trouble, but to get in trouble and stir it up and make it small. So Lord God, you're a great God. You are the great God. So Lord God, give us your wisdom. Bless us as we go. Bless the leaders, bless the Congress people, bless the young people, bless everybody who will carry this dream of freedom through what we do, through Black Women for Biden, to change the nation forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Have a great evening, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Take it off.